Hello, this is Tom with the Tractor Rescue Ranch. I have been crunching some numbers here on the 2026 haying season, and I thought maybe in case some of you didn't know what I'm doing here, I do a little bit of a haying service. I've got 3 main customers, and I've been doing it in the past on shares, and all I do is people that have small fields. There's some big boys in town that provide haying services, but they won't even touch these small fields. So I'm providing a little bit of a niche thing here, and it surely wouldn't be economical to do if you were buying new equipment. But since I'm getting by on very little costs on my old equipment, just trying to put some numbers here together and figure out if it was worth doing or not, because I spent a lot of time and a lot of hours and stress all summer getting this done. So I've got a few numbers here to run by you. Hopefully I can say this in a way that can be understandable. I think all total, probably I did 60, maybe 70 acres this year of hay. And it's kind of interesting. We had some bad frosts in the early spring, and that pretty much wiped out a lot of the hay crop, the alfalfa crop, in the early spring. And we're in a bad drought, so it was a drought year, and between the frost and the drought year, we would have done a lot better, but we had a couple places where my customers had put some irrigating water on it, so there was a few fields that did better and a few fields that did quite worse. I had some major breakdowns. If you've been watching the season, the swather went down early in the year. One of the main drive shafts out on the header broke, and you can't buy the parts for those old machines, and I was able to fix that shaft and put it back together. Luckily, to get that particular field done, I borrowed a swather from my friend Scott to get me out of that jam. And then the twister, bill hook twister on that wire feed baler broke. And so those were the 2 major breakdowns. Neither one of them cost me very much to fix, other than some downtime. But the interesting thing here, this year I did 1,189 bales total. And we looked up in the records, and last year we did 1,188 bales. So I did 1 more bale this year than I did last year. And boy, I would have, if we hadn't had a drought year and that frost, I'd have done 2,000 bales this year. I didn't do a straight split on some of it. I kept 438 bales. I didn't need all that much hay, and the customers that I'm working with end up buying more hay than I put up. And so I sold some of the hay, some of my shares I sold back to them. So adding all of my expenses up, and this is just going off the mileage on my truck, using the IRS mileage, what that goes for, and then the wire and twine that I bought and the fuel that I bought for the equipment was pretty much all my expenses. I didn't have very many parts or anything like that. So adding up my total expenses for the year, I spent $1,257, and selling some of the hay back to my customers, I made $1,225. So my expenses were all pretty much just close to a wash as far as as far as what I paid out of pocket and what I earned. So the way to look at that is the hay that I kept, the 438 bales that I kept, were essentially free when you're talking numbers. Now, there's one major thing I'm not putting in there, and that is depreciation on this old equipment. I don't know how you would ever figure out what the depreciation would be on 50-year-old equipment. So I don't have any of that added in on it. And then my time. And in running a business, your time would have to be put in there. But since I'm retired and I'm just kind of doing this for fun, as a child, I always wanted to be a farmer, and I never had the opportunity until I retired. And so now I'm just doing what I want with my life. And so my time, I don't consider my time to be relevant in this equation. But if I had sold all of the hay instead of getting some of it in shares, I got $2,190 worth of hay for free. So I think all in all, I probably would have broke even if you consider depreciation and time, or if not, I might have made a little bit of money. And so that makes me happy to know that I didn't, I don't know, at least I didn't go in the hole a lot. So that's quite a bit of hay to end up getting for free, 438 bales of hay. So between that and what I had left over from last year, I've got enough hay to do me for my goats and my steers for the whole year. So then I had one major purchase, and that was that New Holland hay baler that I bought. I give $750 for that is all. And I put, even though I don't have all the bugs worked out of it, I put 300 or 400 bales through that thing here towards the end of the season. And so I'm really excited about that. That last video of running that baler, you guys, there was a lot of really great comments about some of the things that I need to do to it in ways that I can fix the problems on it. And it was very helpful. And that's one reason I do this YouTube channel, is because there's so many knowledgeable people that are willing to share their knowledge. So I sure appreciate all of the comments that I got on that hay baler. And like I said earlier, it's my intent to kind of go through that hay baler this winter. I want to just have it really up and going in tip-top shape for starting next year's hay season. And it's just going to be a game changer for me compared to running those really old hay balers. This new one, I ought to be able to really stuff the hay through it and be able to bale a lot faster. I ought to be able to combine windrows and just do the baling way faster and have good competent bales. So I'm really excited about that part of it. So we'll do videos as I tear into that hay baler. There's some other things here in the season that I'm going to have to get going before the snow flies this winter. I want to get done before I start working on that baler, because I can back that baler here into the shop and work on it once the weather goes bad on me. So I really appreciate all the comments and everything on that. I've been looking for another big winter project like I had last winter, like the Farmall Model M that I rebuilt last winter. And I haven't come up with anything really good that would be a good winter project. And I don't know if you guys are like I am, but it seems like I never get everything finished on one of those projects. So I think this winter I might just try to go ahead and work on all of my other old existing equipment and finish up some of the things that I never got finished on some of the other projects. And one of the main things that I'm going to have to do, that John Deere 4020, I got to do something with the injector pump on it. And I don't know if I have the guts to try to rebuild that injector pump myself, or if I'm going to just pull it off and send it in and have it rebuilt. That's a pretty expensive proposition to have that done. So I've got that's got to be addressed this year, and I'll get that New Holland hay baler rebuilt. And I've got some other things. That Farmall M has one of the rear seals on the final drive seal is leaking oil out of the transmission on it, so I'm going to have to pull that final drive off on that M and get that to where it's not leaking transmission oil out. I got several other things. I got a whole list of things that I need to do, and so that's kind of what my plan is this winter. And of course, if I had a good opportunity to have another major project, I would probably jump on it, but I think I'll be staying plenty busy just with doing all these odds and ends to keep the videos coming. So I sure appreciate everybody watching, all the subscribers and everybody that watches, and really I appreciate the comments that everybody makes. And so if you haven't, please like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next video.